I love when friends invite me over for dinner. It's very rare, but when they do, I have the most amazing meals and I also learn off them, just like this recipe that I'm sharing with you today. This is a lovely Sri Lankan curry and I'm using pork and mango. The two go so well together. And the trick to this is all in the spices. So I've got a pan on a medium heat and we want to toast all of these spices so they really come alive. Turmeric, so ground turmeric into a pan, along with some coriander seeds, love coriander seeds, lots of them, some mustard seeds, some paprika, some cumin seeds, ginger powder, look at the colours, lots of black pepper, some fenugreek seeds, cardamom powder, some fennel seeds, a few more to go, a pinch of nutmeg. I know it's only a pinch, but it makes a difference, and 2 star anise. And now we're just going to toast this off. So just be careful not to burn the spices, but I wish you could smell this. The smell of this spice blend coming together is just the best. And you can blend this in a coffee grinder or a spice grinder. I have a mortar and pestle, so I'm going to add this to my mortar and pestle and just give it a light crushing. It's just because we've got lots of whole spices in there, so we really just want to crush them a little bit more so it's much more palatable when we eat it. So in it goes. And yes, I have a big recipe that I'm sharing with you today, but the main reason for that is so you can store it in the pantry, so you only need to do this once. All right, let's get crushing. Oh, and it smells so good. Okay, that's my friend's signature Sri Lankan curry powder mix. And now we're going to add 2 generous tablespoons of this into some pork. Now I'm using some pork shoulder for this, but you could also use some pork neck, which is also called pork scotch. You want to use a pork that's got lots of fat in it so it cooks long and slow. So all of those secondary cuts work quite well. Some other things that I like to add to the marinade, a really good pinch of salt. In it goes. Along with some lime, so just the zest of 1 lime. We will use the juice later on. I don't want to add the juice now because it can tend to cook the meat straight away with the acid, so we want to leave that to the end. And so it all comes together, a little bit of oil. I'm using some safflower oil. And we'll just give that a really good mix. I'm going to let this marinate for 1 hour just to the side while I prepare some onions and garlic. I'm just going to finely slice my onions and crush the garlic. All right, onions and garlic are ready to go. This has been marinating for an hour. All right, so a good glug of oil, and the meat needs to be sealed off, but we don't want to burn the spices, so it's just flash frying the big chunks of pork. So in it goes, a good sizzle. This will just take a minute on each side before we add our onions. You don't want to overcrowd the pan at this stage because it may start to stew the meat, and we don't want that. We just want a lovely crust on the pork. So let's turn these ones. Great, lovely golden colour. And now that pan's really heating up, just needs a moment on that side. We'll take them out. And I haven't added any extra salt at this stage because I did add a lot to the marinade, but we'll taste it later on when the sauce starts to develop. So the last few pieces of pork can go in. And because there's only a small amount of that, I can now add my onions and garlic, just so we get a bit of a head start on them. We're just wanting to soften them off just for a moment. Let's turn the last pieces of pork. Great colour. And we can return the rest of our pork and any marinade that's left in the bowl, by all means add it. And now for the liquid. Combination of coconut milk, just a small splash of coconut milk, and lots of stock. So about 500 mils of stock. I'm using a chicken stock. And this is going to cook for about 35 to 40 minutes for the first stage of cooking. Then I'm going to add some sweet potato, followed by the mango. Now my frozen mango, I'm not going to add now because it'll just completely disintegrate. So we want to leave that to the very last minute. So we'll pop the lid on this, and once that's really cooked down, reduced, we can add our sweet potato chunks. Now, I know I originally said 35 to 40 minutes, but I have cooked it an extra 15 minutes. The reason I cooked it a little longer is because I wanted that liquid to reduce, and I wanted to make sure that that pork is super tender in the center. So now that it's reduced by half, and that's what you're after, we can add our sweet potato. And I have cut the sweet potato roughly the same size as the pork. This is a really hearty style curry, so no little pieces in here whatsoever. So in with the sweet potato, and sweet potato doesn't take long at all to cook, another 10 to 15 minutes until it's just tender. In the meantime, I'm going to get my frozen mango chunks out of the freezer and just let it defrost for about 5 minutes. Okay, let's check our sweet potato. It's smelling good. If a knife goes through the sweet potato and there's no give, you know that it's cooked. Now it's time to give this a pop of freshness and sweetness with a little bit of mango. Now, I love to have frozen mango on standby for a recipe like this. Frozen mango, not just great for your smoothies in the morning, it's also great for curries just like this. And look at that vibrant orange colour from the sweet potato and the mango. The mango just needs to warm up. And we'll just give it a little bit of a jiggle so it goes into the sauce. And now we'll pop the lid on and just let that cook for just a moment. While that's warming through, let's prepare some herbs to go with this. I love the addition of some fresh mint. So I'll pick off a few of the mint leaves and some coriander, a few leaves, and I'm just going to mix that together. All right, let's turn this off. That looks fantastic. Now, I don't shred this. I like to serve it in big chunks, and then once you get it to your plate, you can break it up. I think it's part of the theatre of it. So in with some generous pork chunks and the sweet potato. And don't forget those chunks of gorgeous mango. That lovely finishing touch of sweetness. And a little drizzle of some fresh lime juice over the top for some tang. Our herbs sprinkle over the top, in and around. And that is my friend's famous Sri Lankan curry. And don't forget, serve it with a little bit of basmati rice.